Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2017. Now I'm very sorry last week we didn't have any content. It was mainly because I don't have internet in my house still. I will be moving houses very soon, probably during this week, so I will be pre-recording a ton of videos in order to not leave the channel unattended like I did the last week. But between the fact that I was sick and I still am a little bit, and that I didn't have internet, it was really frustrating for me. Really awful week, but I will be moving into a new house now. This is not the one. It'll be a different one, and hopefully by then I'll have a reliable internet provider and I'll be able to live stream and whatnot regularly as I was doing before. So this weekend I played another League Cup. This time I did a little bit better. I did make top 8, but I lost. I used Greninja, and I'll be featuring that list tomorrow. But today, I did ask on my Facebook page what deck you guys wanted to see on the channel, and Volcanion Salazzle-GX was one of the most voted ones. So here it is. Now, this is my version of the deck. We do have, it's very similar to Takuya Yoneta's deck, which he used at Worlds. I think this deck has a really weak Gardevoir matchup, and that's why it's probably not too viable. However, if you get an explosive enough start, you might actually be able to beat Gardevoir, thanks to the fact that that you can get ahead in prices so quickly. You do rely a lot on the turn 1 Kiawe, which is not ideal, of course. And actually, I'm noticing that my N and Kiawe count is reversed from what I have built in real life. So let me save that really quickly, and we'll go over through the deck quickly, and then we'll jump into the ladder to play a couple of games, okay? So the main attacker of the deck is Ho-GX, 190 HP, which is really amazing. And the main idea behind Ho and Kiawe is to power up Phoenix Burn that deals 180 damage on turn 1. As that with a choice band, there's very few Pokemon that are able to survive that, especially in the first few turns of the game. And you really want to start with those two cards, Ho and Kiawe. And ideally, you don't want to start with them in the active spot, or a Ho in the active spot, just so that you're not hit by a Lele on turn 1 of your opponent with a DCE. So yeah, that's the main idea. Sacred Fire is also a relatively useful attack, though it's not or probably won't. It has niche uses in the sense that with a Steam Up you can knock out the low HP basics, but your main idea and your main goal is to knock out GX Pokemon through Phoenix Burn and Choice Bands. And the Eternal Flame GX attack will definitely never be used, at least not until this point. We might get some more powerful fire type attackers that actually give merit to Eternal Flame GX, but for now we can pretty much disregard it. Now, as backup, we have one Turtonator-GX. Nitro Tank GX is actually a really good GX attack. Bright Flame, the discarding energy is actually not too bad because it does give you a bit more survivability against Gardevoir GX. And Shell Drop is a really good attack, and a lot more people are just taking in Turtonator thanks to this Shell Trap attack in order to slow down opponents' Pokemon. And then we have 3 Volcanion-EXs. Most lists are running 2, Takuya run 2, but I feel like Steam Up is actually very important, especially if you ever have a turn where you're dealing 50 damage to something like a Vulpix or a Froakie or something like that. You're really setting yourself far behind, like a Ralts as well, or a Remoraid. So you really want to get those knockouts with Steam Up and Ho's first attack in the rare scenario where you didn't have a Guzma available, to go after a GX Pokemon. Now we have 3 Leles, 3 Leles, 4 Ultra Balls, and 3 Kiawes are pretty good odds of hitting one of those on turn 1 in order to power up a Pokemon. And then we have 1 Baby Volcanion and a 2/2 Salazzle-GX line. Salazzle-GX is a really good endgame finisher. Diabolical Claws deals 50 damage for each prize card you have taken, so once you've taken 4 prize cards, Salazzle with a choice band can potentially knock out pretty much everything in the format and secure your last 2 prizes per game. So you can create a lot of scenarios where your opponent has no outs to win thanks to Diabolical Claws. Heat Blast is also a pretty solid attack, as 110 damage is a good amount, and even though it's 10 short of knocking out Garbodors, you do knock out Garbodors in decks that play it with Rainbow Energy. so Golezopet Garbodor. So that's a really good matchup, and that deck is still very popular. We will also be featuring that deck here on the channel this week. And then Queen's Haste GX has some niche uses, but our main GX attack should be Turtonators. But Queen's Haste might be able to buy you a turn or two. And now the items and supporter cards, we have 4 Sycamore, 2 N, 3 Kiawe, and 4 Guzma. You really don't need too much else. All of those are pretty reliable, and you don't really necessarily have to draw a ton of cards, but rather just take quick knockouts, whilst maybe powering up or finding Salazzle pieces, which even top decking can give you the cards you need. Then we have 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Choice Band as our main reliable cards. And then we have 2 Switch and 2 Float Stone. Switching effects are really good for Ho, of course, and combined with Guzma. Then we have 2 Super Rod, we have a single Nest Ball, and 3 Max Elixir. Now, Andoranguru could easily be fit into the deck as well. A second Nest Ball was originally in the list, but I ended up taking that out in favor of the 4th Choice Band. And then we round that out with 14 basic Fire Energy. So let's jump into the standard ladder, which it's been a while. Sorry about the cut, guys. I was playing a game and it was going really well, and then I got disconnected. So it's either no internet or choppy internet, huh? Okay, but seems like we might be up against a mirror match. So this should be really, really interesting. We do win the coin flip, so going first is probably really big in the mirror, of course. I mean, it's really big in every matchup, of course, but okay, so not too great of a start because we don't have a way to find Kiawe. So that's actually not ideal. We'll see if off of the end we can find something like another elixir, because then that way we could get the whole powered up. Top decking as a Salazzle, that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we have another choice. So I'm just gonna play the elixir. We do hit, thankfully. And I will end here. I thinned my deck previously a little bit. I do find the Kiawe now. However, things are just not looking great. See, the thing is, I would love to power up Ho next turn, perhaps. Perhaps that's a bit too slow. Okay, so my opponent ends me right back, so no big deal here. I do think we are up against a mirror, but at least neither of us get the turn 1 Kiawe, or turn 2 Kiawe rather. Okay, so we see a Ho. And okay, so this is pretty good actually. We will be able to find a Lele to Guzma up the Ho, my opponent's Ho, which is pretty good. And I'm keeping the Choice Band and the energy in my hand. Well, basically, my opponent Guzma's us were in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. However, we have just the right cards to get the 2 KO on Ho with Sacred Fire. So hopefully this works out well for us. I guess it doesn't matter if I bench the Volcanion or not. I might as well just team up, huh? Dealing 80, 110. I'll try to play it cool. I'll keep the energy just in case he decides to retreat into something else, or he manages to retreat into something else. Then that way I have the energy to use Phoenix Bird. We see an Ultra Ball, discarding Ultra Ball and Sycamore, so probably gonna look at another Sycamore, or we might see a Lele into Kiawe to power up Lele. That's another play we could see for sure. But if my opponent does do that, I mean, it's looking like we're gonna draw 2 prize cards next turn, which is obviously really, really good. We'll see. We'll see if we can do that. There's the baby Volcanion. Okay, so maybe not. If my opponent finds a way to switch out, which presumably he runs at least 2 Switch and 2 Float Stone, then we won't be knocking out anything. We see an Elixir. on the Volcanion, and can we see a pass to get perfect mats on the Ho knockout? If he switches into Baby Volcanion, that's actually okay. Ah, he has the escape rope, okay. So who do we not mind him attacking? I guess the Lele. Ah, he found the escape rope, that's rough. That's rough. We see another Elixir hitting as well. Oh, this time on the Lele. Now it's down to a top deck here. I took a chance, I took a gamble, and it did not pay off for sure. And I get another choice band. So hitting the hole twice doesn't even get us a knockout. So is there any point in getting my hole damaged? I guess there is. I mean, not damaged, but rather getting damage onto my opponent's Pokemon here. Okay, I'll just go after the active. This is a really tough spot to be in. We went all in pretty big and it did not pay off. And my opponent is able to get supporters, and wow, we see Energy Dribble and Fisherman. Wow, and we see Starry, so this is a more traditional version of Volcanion. He's used up 2 Switch though, I mean 2 Sycamore, so hopefully this supporter card in his hand is N. No, it's a Lele, which will guarantee him another clean Sycamore, yikes. Okay, what we can do is snipe this Starry. That we can do. And that will get us 1 prize card. So we will have access to essentially 3 cards, 3 new cards going into our next turn. Not the upcoming one, but the one afterwards. And okay, so there's a Volcanion. And yeah, the energy in the discard pile are starting to worry me though. Is he going to steam up? I guess there's no big difference here. Okay. The choice band on the Lele is awkward for sure. But now he's gonna deal 50 damage, and then Lele actually deals 150, so that is enough for a knockout. That is certainly enough for a knockout. But he attached energy to Volcanion instead of Ho. That makes sense, I guess. And attached to Lele as well. So not paying any attention to the Ho. And this is not good, guys. Hopefully he doesn't have a way to retreat once again. Or not once again, but this time. We see an Ultra Ball. My opponent gets a sad face, and we get the Ultra Ball. So we can actually get out of this spot we're currently in. We will discard whatever we do top deck, and we will use the Ultra Ball. Okay, so he didn't switch out, that's good. So, let's go for the Ultra Ball play, and then Lele. And with the Lele, we obviously don't want to use N, and we really need to find more energy to power up other threats. Now, in a best case scenario, what's our best case scenario? Best case scenario, we find elixirs. That's what we're looking for. But no, I actually find a Kiawe. Now I can knock out the Volcanion here. I can knock out the Volcanion. I'm probably gonna have to use my own Volcanion. But I really gain nothing by knocking out the Volcanion. And it might make him awkward once again for him to retreat. So I'm gonna put damage on the Lele enough so that my Volcanion isn't forced to steam up. Oof. With the steam up, now my opponent is dealing 30-80, so he's 10 short. Oof, the 190 HP coming through. Really coming through here. Now I could easily retreat and then Kiawe. But is that the right play here? I don't think it is. I think the right play is to threaten or to get a knockout on this Volcanion. 50 plus 30, that's 80. Yeah, that's perfect maths. I'm gonna steam up, get the knockout, and therefore if he gets if it tries to get a knockout on my Ho with Lele, like I'll still have enough energy on Ho to get a return KO. That's the idea behind this. And I'm actually able to find an Elixir which does hit, which is pretty good. And that way I'll be able to start preparing this Salazzle. So I'm gonna Sacred Fire the active, get a knockout, that's 2 prize cards, that's really good. So yeah, pretty sketchy game, or pretty grindy game, I would say. That 10 HP away from getting a knockout really must hurt. And there we see the immediate energy drive, so I have a feeling we should be able to lock this game down. I mean, we're gonna need an extra energy, that's for sure. We're gonna need an extra energy. If my opponent does N us, we will need to draw 1 energy off of that N, because we do have an energy here. I will play the Max Elixir, but I will actually, even if I hit it, I cannot attach to Salazzle-GX, so I will choose not to attach an energy. I will also bench the baby Volcanion, which could maybe buy us a turn. And then I'm going to Volcanic hit for the knockout. And then no matter what happens, we have Salazzle-GX to deal 200 damage to whatever is up there and get a knockout. Worst case scenario, my opponent attaches a Fighting Fury belt and ends us down to 2 cards. That's worst case scenario, I would say. If he uses Guzma to take a knockout on something else, we have Volcanion-EX powered up to get the knockout ourselves. The only way we wouldn't be able to get a knockout would be if he takes a knockout with Ho, but he would require another Max Elixir power to power up, an energy, a switching effect, that's not Guzma, and an end. So there's really no way my opponent can win. Or there are ways my opponent can win, but they're all so unlikely, and there has to be so many, like such a big combination of cards. And yeah, there we see the end. So he might not even get the energy to retreat. And okay, so off of that, he gets the Float Stone, he gets the knockout on our Volcanion. So now we're in a tough spot for sure. Now it comes down to me top decking an energy, him not getting a Guzma, because the Kiawe is not energy. And I top deck as a Salazzle-GX. Okay, so 8, 9. So the odds of us getting energy were actually not too bad, but we didn't. So I'm just gonna Kiawe. I'm going to attach all 4 energy onto the Salazzle, because there's no threat of Tapu Lele getting a knockout, and this way, if he ends us and somehow finds like a non-GX attacker, we can just Guzma. So yeah, I mean, it came down to the end. Could we draw well off of the end? Could we not? Seems like we couldn't, and now it's gonna come down to can my opponent find a Guzma? He plays a Field Blower and he plays an N, so now there's no way he wins, right? N to 2, there's no way he wins. There's no way he found, even if he found an escape rope. Even if he found an escape rope. And see, this is the Kiawe. I put in all 4 energy so that I wouldn't draw any more energy, so I would have access to my switching cards and stuff, because even though I can use energy to retreat, I wouldn't be able to use energy to retreat Ho or Volcanion, so I would need to find the Float Stones or the switches. So yeah, it came down to who drew better off of the end, and we were able to do so. If my opponent had another energy on this Ho, he would be able to take a knockout, but he doesn't, so he can only use Sacred Fire for 80 damage total, and then we will hit back with Diabolical Claws for 200 damage and the game. So yeah, whew, that was really close, really close. Not a bad way to start the day with a really close win. And let's find another match to see if we can keep this up. Now, we both missed the turn 1 Kiawe. I feel like that definitely made the matchup a lot more even. If one player gets the turn 1 Kiawe and the other doesn't, then you're at a really big disadvantage. Even if you're going second, if you get the Kiawe off, that's really good, of course. And now we see the Laria is calling the coin flip. We lose the coin flip, so we're not going to go first this time around. But as long as we can pull off the turn 1 Kiawe, which looks like we will be able to, not with the ideal Ho, but onto a Volcanion, which is second best case scenario, I guess. And with the Choice Band and the Fire Energy, we actually have a guaranteed knockout on turn 2 on any GX Pokemon in play. So that's really good. That is really good. It takes a few more resources than Ho to pull off the knockouts, and you don't get maximum use of Kiawe, but that's still okay. And yeah, guys, if you guys are enjoying this, don't forget to leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Sakura Scoop, TCG Castle, and Ultimate Guard, so that you show them how much, if you want to support me and you show support to them, then that means they know that what we're doing is working out okay. Okay, so we're up against Alola Ninetales. This is going to be a really difficult matchup, especially if we lead off with a Volcanion instead of with the ideal Ho. So we top deck a fire. Okay, so that's not great. That is definitely not great, because sure, we can get a knockout on Tapu Lele, but that's pretty much it. And afterwards, we should definitely expect Volcanion-EX to go down. If we had gone first, then we could have maybe expected Volcanion-EX to survive another turn, but not in this scenario. Definitely not in this scenario. And a lot is going to come down to our price cards, and that Sycamore. Not having the Ho here really hurts. It's one of the reasons why I would consider playing 4 Ho. Perhaps 4 Ho, 2 Volcanion is better than 3 Ho, 3 Volcanion. We do see the Ninetales already getting set up. So the only way we do something here is if my opponent just whiffs energy this turn. But he hasn't played a supporter yet anyway, so. And now, if I get another Fire Energy, so that's a mistake attaching the Fire Energy, I would have actually been able to knock out the Ninetales, right? Oof, that's a mistake. That's a really bad mistake on my part. If I had not attached the Fire Energy to Volcanion-EX, I would have actually gotten a knockout on the Ninetales GX. Now, off of the end, we can once again maybe pull it off, or not, or not really. See a Float Stone, and we see right off the Ice Blade for probably 100 damage onto the active. Yeah. Okay, so my opponent is in a really threatening position. Now, Salandit is gonna have a lot of trouble here. See, I could get a knockout on the Ninetales, but that's gonna require so many resources, and then I won't have a good follow-up to this Ninetales. However, and that's all hoping I get a Choice Band, but I feel like maybe that's my only play here. I think that's my only play here. So I'm gonna grab Lele. Now let me check the other Kiawe. There are more Kiawe in the deck, because I might need to have like a pause turn where I power up Ho through Kiawe. If I was attacking with Ho here, I'd feel a lot more comfortable, because even though a Choice Band would allow my opponent to just outright knock me out, Well, I guess it's the same. Either he requires a choice band or he doesn't. Now, losing the Salandit is also not ideal, and we still don't have the knockout. We do find the choice band, thankfully. We find the other Kiawe as well. So I'm gonna retreat. Now I could, the next energy, who can I attach it to? Who should I attach it to? Salandit would be ideal. Now, there's no way I pull off another knockout with Volcanion, so then probably to the Lele, or I keep it so that I have Steam Up prowess. No, I'm gonna attach to Lele, and I'm gonna Volcanic Heat for knockout, I believe. Yep, 220, perfect. Okay, so I played to the odds that I was most likely going to hit a choice band, and I did, so not bad. My opponent top decks the choice band, presumably. Nope, never mind. Although the choice band doesn't matter here unless he decides to Guzma up the hole, which I think would be a very big mistake. Using Guzma and hole would be a really big mistake. This turn at least. We see a Mallow. Now basically we're banking on the fact that my opponent will probably not be able to take back-to-back knockouts with Ninetales. That's what we're banking on here. But yeah, there's a knockout. 380 damage. Super overkill. And by playing down both choice bands, my opponent makes himself very susceptible to a field blower, which unfortunately we're not running, but I feel like that was an overextension on his part. Okay, I'm gonna play the Elixir, which I missed, so it doesn't actually matter. And I'm just gonna Kiawe onto the hole. Oh. My opponent probably has Guzma DC at the top, huh? Yeah, he's gonna have that. Or maybe he didn't plan correctly. Maybe he didn't expect the next Kiawe. Presumably he didn't, because he immediately played down the Ninetales, so that's what he probably put at the top. So a big mistake by my opponent, I think. He needs DC and Guzma. He plays Professor Kukui, so he's gonna opt to take a knockout on my Lele. Yep, but that's okay. We are actually in a pretty okay position. We're just gonna have to find a way to retreat our Volcanion-EX. Which is easier said than done, of course. But yeah, we're okay. Because my opponent has no energy in play after this, actually, I can just end my opponent. I mean, he has Octillery, of course, so that doesn't really hurt him. Oh, I get the switch. How many ends has he played? He's probably, well, he's played 2, so he only has 2 ends left. And his hand is pretty big. His deck is still pretty big. He could Lele for it, for sure. So what do we do here? Do we end? Or do we play it cool and... I mean, we have the win in our hand. That means we're forcing our opponent to react to us. We're gonna take 2 prize cards though. And if he doesn't end us, that's pretty lucky. Honestly, that's really lucky. But hey, one can dream, right? He's already used to. And he even promotes the Float Stone Ninetales, interestingly enough. We see an Ultra Ball, discarding Sycamore and Acerola, so that definitely means... Wait, what? We see Tapu Lele-GX. Oh gosh. Tapu Lele-GX. Does he have double patch? Oh wow, he's even going to win this turn. With Tapu. Wow, triple aqua patch. Okay, I should have end. I should have end. Now my opponent just playing it. Making it unnecessarily longer. Oh well. Triple aqua patch. Nice. Well, there's not much you can do about that. probably should have ended, but I had the win in hand, so it was really tempting. Now, this was a really difficult matchup, and starting off with Volcanion instead of Ho definitely didn't help our situation, even though my opponent got the choice band and would have gotten the knockout anyways on Ho. You don't want to lead with Ho against Ninetales, but it's already a pretty difficult matchup anyways. So yeah, this will be it from me today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you can. It really helps out the channel. And I promise I will pre-record a ton of videos so that whilst I'm moving and I'm in this, once again, new phase. It seems like I moved only like 3 months ago, and now I'm moving once again. However, this one should be for good for at least a year. And yeah, I'll pre-record stuff so that you guys have videos on the channel. And then once I'm settled in and I have working internet in my new home, I will be live streaming for you guys, okay? So yeah, thank you guys, and bye-bye.